Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another meal prep video. If you are new here, I hope you will stick around and subscribe to my channel. If you want to be notified, just ring that little bell. That'll notify you when my videos post. Also, if you want to follow me over on Instagram, I'll put my Instagram handle right here. So this week I was looking at what is going to make the best sense for me to meal prep, because you guys know lately I just been wanting to do less meal prepping because I just so busy and I want to waste less food because I just have been noticing I am not been eating a lot of my meal preps. So this week I knew I would need help with dinners. So I'm going to be prepping some dinners and also a breakfast item. So let's go ahead and jump into it. I have all my things out here ready to go. So first up, I have a few things that need to go in the oven. So I'm going to get all those things ready to go first off. So we're going to do a spaghetti squash. I'm going to do a Greek spaghetti squash dinner. You'll see everything that's going to go into that. So first up, I had the tiniest little itty bitty spaghetti squash because this is only for me. So I'm just going to scrape out all the insides of it. So like I said, this is the tiniest little spaghetti squash. So we are just going to go and do this. I am terrible at cutting them in half, as you can tell. Those things make me nervous. They are so hard. So just be very, very careful cutting your spaghetti squash in half. I do know that some people cut them in half the other way, which they're a little bit easier to cut that way. But I noticed they take longer to cook, and I wanted all this stuff to kind of cook at the same time. So the next thing I'm going to do now that I have all that stuff out, I'm going to take my 2 teaspoon measuring spoon. I need to get new measuring spoons, you guys. Why do I never buy stuff like that? They just have all broken, or they've just worn out, you know? So I am down to like the scraps of measuring spoons. But 2 teaspoons was exactly what I wanted to use on this. This will be 2 servings for me. This spaghetti squash will be 2 servings. So I will track 1 teaspoon of the avocado oil. So I'm just kind of taking a brush and just kind of brushing the entire squash with that. So if you have a little bit bigger squash, you may want to use maybe a tablespoon, just depends. So we're going to use some of the Kinder's The Blend, which you guys know is my favorite seasoning. I'm going to just sprinkle the heck out of it because I want to really add a lot of flavor while that's cooking in the oven. And then I cook these on a little sheet pan, and I do it flesh side down. And this is going to go into a 400-degree oven. And we're going to start this at 20 minutes just because like I said, I'm doing 3 different things in the oven. And I'll show you guys the next things. I'm just going to do this meal prep kind of in order of how I did everything, so you can see how I kind of organized my meal prep. So the next thing I need to get ready to go in the oven are these veggies. So we're going to roast up these veggies for a veggie pasta dinner that I'm going to have. So my plan is to just have all my dinners ready to go, and all I have to do is just cook the protein. So we have a cauliflower, broccoli, we have carrots, we have a lot of tomatoes. I love roasting tomatoes. If you have not roasted tomatoes, you definitely should. I did notice that some of this broccoli and cauliflower is just really big, so I went ahead and cut some of that down. But I just love buying those prepackaged vegetables just because, like I said, I'm the only one that eats these. It's just me and my husband in my home, and he likes to eat like more like green beans and corn and beans and those kind of things. So he doesn't eat these types of veggies as often. So anyway, this is just for me. I'm going to do, again, another 2 teaspoons of this avocado oil. And I'm just going to put that in there. Then I'll also spray this a little bit with some cooking spray. But I just like how oil it kind of roasts up the veggies a little bit better. And of course, going in with the blend. And again, I'm going to, really sprinkle quite a bit on there because this is the only seasoning I'm going to use on this particular roasted veggie. So I'm just going to kind of toss it with my hands. And then, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and grab my cooking spray, which is just an olive oil cooking spray. I'm going to spray just a little bit more just to add on just a little bit more oil on there. And then I'm going to pour this onto a sheet pan. And this is also going to go into that same 400-degree oven. Again, like that's why I'm going to start with 20 minutes and see how that goes. So we're going to go and pour that in there, and this one's ready to go in the oven. Now this is going to go with some pasta that I'm going to make, and with some chicken sausages, which I'll show you the chicken sausages that I picked up for this. I never tried them before, so I'll show you those. But this is going to go into that 400-degree oven with the spaghetti squash. But we have one more item that we have to get ready to go into the oven, and that's going to be a breakfast. So I'm going to do a pancake bake. I had this protein flapjacked pancake mix in my pantry, and you guys know I'm trying to use up all the stuff in the pantry. So in my blender here, and we're using a blender because we're going to use cottage cheese, and I know a lot of people don't like cottage cheese and the texture of it, so I'm going to show you what you can do to kind of hide it, but still get the same amount of protein. So 1 cup of that pancake mix went into here. Use any kind of pancake mix you want to use. I just want these to be extra high protein, so because I like to get the extra protein in the morning. Next up, we're going to do 2 cups of cottage cheese. I will have this recipe written out for you down below. And then we're going to do 1 cup of egg whites. Like I said, really high protein on this one. And I'm going to do a dash of vanilla, probably about a teaspoon or so of vanilla. And then we're going to do 4 eggs. Now, the reason why I'm doing so many eggs and egg whites is because we did not use as much pancake mix. So this is really kind of playing off of that. I don't know if you've ever seen those pancake recipes just using the cottage cheese and the eggs and all that. So that's kind of what this is playing up as. So we're going to blend that up. And then we're going to take some no sugar added apple pie filling. So I've had this pie filling in my pantry for a very long time. I bought it for a recipe, never used it. So I thought this would be a great way to use it. Now, my intention here was to kind of just heat up the apple pie filling just because it was so thick, and I thought I wanted to heat it up. Now, hindsight, you guys are going to see what this looks like when it comes out of the oven. Hindsight, I wish I would have crystallized this a little bit more, like really heated it up and got it nice and more, you know, just kind of crispy. You guys know what I mean? Just kind of caramelized. That's the word I'm thinking of, caramelized. I wish I would have done that. I just really wanted to heat it up just to kind of thin it out a little bit. But what I'm going to tell you guys to do is if you do this exact same type of recipe, caramelize the apples. So do that. Now I'm going to take my mixture and we are just going to pour that batter here on top. Yep, there we go. We're just pouring that up on top. And then we are going to sprinkle some apple pie spice. You can use pumpkin pie spice, you can use cinnamon, use whatever you want, but we're going to use apple pie spice here. And just sprinkle as much as you want on there. And then this is going to go in the oven with those other things. So now we're going to put all 3 of those things in the oven at 400 degrees. Like I said, we're going to start at 20 minutes, and I'll tell you how long everything took. Don't mind my dirty oven. You know, this is real life. Life happens. So while those are in the oven, we're going to go ahead and cook our pasta. So this is the pasta. It's a low-carb ziti pasta. We're going to go ahead and put this in the pan. Just cook the entire box because it's 4 servings, and I need 4 servings for my meals. In the meantime, while now everything's cooking, I can go ahead and get the rest of the stuff prepped. So the green onions, I'm just cutting up for some salads and stuff for the rest of the week. So just going to cut those up. I love to have green onions on hand. I throw them in salads, throw them in pastas. I just like the taste of a fresh green onion. Next up, we're going to go ahead and cut up some red onion. So the red onion I'm going to use for the Greek, couple different Greek pasta dishes. So we're going to do a Greek pasta and the Greek spaghetti squash. So I want to have red onion for that. Plus I use it in my salads as well. I have watched so many videos on like cutting your red onion and leaving that thing on the end, and nothing ever works for me. So I just cut it the way I cut it. But I really like red onion, so I'm going to go and get this sliced up, and then we'll have that ready to go, and we're going to cut up the rest of our veggies for the rest of the meals that I'll be making. So now we have our little mini cucumbers. This is going to be for the spaghetti squash and for one of the pasta dishes. So I love to put the little mini cucumbers in the Greek dishes just because they're just so little and they're so sweet, and I will be heating up some of this stuff, and I don't mind the little ones heated up. I feel like they just retain their shape really well, and I don't know, just really like them. The skin is really thin, so I do pick these up when I can. This week I picked up my produce at Safeway, and they always have the mini cucumbers, and they're always really good. Sometimes when I've gotten them at Fred Meyer, they have, or which is my Kroger store, they're not always the best. Like they kind of have like slimy. You have to be really careful with these mini cucumbers. Now because olives do have points and they have calories because they are a healthy fat though. So olives are really good for you. So I'm going to go ahead and weigh out 4 servings of olives, which is 60 grams. And I know when I split this pasta up, I'm not going to have exactly 15 grams in each of my dishes, but y'all, we did not gain weight and did not do all that from eating too many olives. So I'm not too worried about having the exact amount, but I did want to be careful in what I started off with. So I'm just going to cut these in half, which was so tedious, by the way. But I'm going to go ahead and cut all these in half just so it kind of spread it out through all the dishes. Next up, we have our tomatoes. So I'm going to be putting these again in those Greek dishes. And you saw I already put some in with the roasting in the oven. So again, the tedious task of cutting all these little itty bitty tomatoes in half. And I have seen those videos where they have shown how you can cut these in half. I've tried that. It did not work for me. I picked up some of these roasted red bell peppers. These are going to go in those Greek dishes as well. Now, you have to be careful when you buy these because there are some that come in oil, which again with the olives, the same way. I had to look at a lot of bottles of the Kalamata olives to find ones that were not in oil. So just look at the label. These are just only in water. So were the olives. So I'm just going to go ahead and just take some of these out and just chop these all up. Now this is going to be 4 servings, and I'm telling you that because we're getting ready to put some dressing on this. So we're just going to go ahead and mix this around, but I'm going to use this for 4 different dishes. So I have this Ken's Simply Vinaigrette Greek dressing, and we're going to use this. We're going to do 2 tablespoons in this, which like I said, is going to go across 4 different servings. And again, I know it's not going to be exactly accurate, but that's why I'm just still weighing it out, measuring it out. So we have our 2 tablespoons for our 4 servings of veggies. And I like to kind of season all the layers. So this is seasoning this layer, and then we're also going to put it on the pasta when it's done cooking. Speaking of the pasta, it's all done cooking. Now you have to be really careful with low-carb pasta. You can overcook it so easily, which I did. So I went ahead and weighed out the whole entire thing of pasta, and I'm going to divide that by 2. That way, because I'm going to use 2 of them for 2 servings are going to be the roasted veggies, and 2 of them would be the Greek. So I split that up between 2 different servings. So we have 2 servings each in these bowls, and I'm going to put another tablespoon each in each one of these bowls. Although, we're going to come back to this because I realized that one of these bowls was actually for the roasted veggies, which I did not want the Greek dressing on. But I'll show you how I'll tell you how I fixed that. So we're just going to go and mix that up. So now I've used 3 tablespoons total of this dressing. Now I have some feta cheese. I cut this up into the 8 servings that it is, and we're going to use 2 servings in each one. So this is 2 servings worth of pasta here. So in this is going to be the Greek pasta. So again, we're going to use 2 ounces of feta cheese in this pasta dish. So it'll be 2 servings. And again, I know it's not going to exactly weigh out when we split this up, but it's going to be close enough. Now we're going to add about half of this veggie mixture into this. Of course, it was like all the cucumbers fell in it, so I'm trying to measure out, where I have about equal amounts of all the different veggies in here, and then we're going to go ahead and give that a good stir. So that's the reason why I wanted to do some of the dressing in the pasta and some of the dressing in the vegetables, just to make sure it was nice and seasoned really well, because we're not adding anything else to this. I tasted it. It has enough seasoning in there. I may add just a little bit of pepper to it, but other than that, it had really great flavor. But that's why I wanted to kind of season every layer, and that's kind of like what I like to do when I'm cooking. Now, this is the pasta. Was not supposed to have the Greek dressing, so I'm going to go ahead and rinse this off with some cold water, and it rinsed off beautifully. Because this is for the roasted veggies. So we're going to add some red onion. Forgot to add that to my pasta. So we're going to add that on there. And then this is ready to go besides adding the chicken. And I'll show you what chicken I'm going to use for that. In the meantime, the veggies are done. They took actually 35 minutes is what I ended up cooking the veggies for. And those are all done. So we're going to add that to the pasta that I rinsed the dressing off of. And because these have seasoning on them, the veggies do, and a little bit of oil, it flavored the pasta really, really well. So I'm just going to go ahead and give this a good toss, and then we'll show you what I'm going to add to this. I picked up these Amy Lou andouille chicken sausages. So what I'll do is cook up one of these, add it to half of this pasta and veggies, and then that way dinner will be ready to go. The only thing I have to do is just cook those sausages, which I'll probably throw in the air fryer. Now, the calories and points and all that you see here on the screen does include the sausage. I put them all in my tracker with it already included. And then for the Greek pasta, I'm going to use the blackened chicken strips from Tyson. So what I'll do is cook the chicken up, just 3 ounces of it, add it to half of that pasta with the feta cheese and the dressing and all that. And again, the calories and points here on the screen does include the chicken. And then for the spaghetti squash, it's all done. So it took about 40 minutes to cook through, and you can tell it's very, very hot. So the next thing we need to do is just go ahead and just scrape it out with a fork, and that's how you know it's all done. It just scrapes out super easy, and it just looks like spaghetti. So go ahead and just gonna go ahead and scrape all of this out, and then I'll show you what I'm gonna do next with this. I'm gonna add in some of this Simply vinaigrette Greek dressing again. We're just gonna do a half a tablespoon to this, and this will be 2 servings for this spaghetti squash. I don't know, we're gonna see how it goes, but this is gonna be about 2 servings is what I'm thinking. And then we're gonna put the rest of the veggies that we did in here. So that's the rest of the roasted red pepper, olives, cucumbers, and tomatoes. And then we are going to add some cheese to that as well. Again, we're going to use the feta cheese. We're going to use 2 little blocks of it, so 2 ounces of the feta cheese, since this will be 2 servings. And I'm just going to crumble that up, and then I will be heating this up so it'll kind of melt the cheese a little bit and heat up that spaghetti squash. And we're just going to give it a good stir. So like I said, we shouldn't have to add any other seasoning to this because that vinaigrette has quite a bit of flavor to it. And I'll also be pairing this with the Tyson blackened chicken strips. So again, 3 ounces of the chicken strips, half of the spaghetti squash mixture, and again, the points and all of that here on the screen does include the chicken. So you can see this is a pretty high protein, low point meal as well. And the pancake bake is out of the oven. This took about 40 minutes, so about as long as the spaghetti squash. And it's all done, and what I'm going to do is take a plate, put it on top, and invert it. But you're going to see, like I said, you're going to see why I said in the beginning that you definitely want to caramelize your apples next time. So you can see here they just came out a little blob, but it is all cooked through. And just so you know, this is very egg heavy because, like I said, we're not using very much pancake mix, so it is a little eggy. But if you're used to having those types of things, I think you would really like this. What I plan on doing is cutting this into 4 servings. Probably heating it up in the air fryer to kind of caramelize those apples. And you can actually make this into more servings if you want to have it be less points and less calories. But because I want that higher protein, I'm just going to do 4 servings. And that is everything this week, you guys. So thank you, as always, for clicking on my video. And I will see you guys in the next one. And all those recipes will be in the description box. Bye, guys.